Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is ludicrous for the ranking member of the subcommittee to make the argument that millions of illegal aliens who crossed into the country during the Biden administration invaded the country because the immigration system is, quote, broken, close quote. The fact is, these individuals came because of Biden's open border policies: no fence, no detention, no removal, and frankly, no enforcement. That's what happened. It is rich to decry the pardons of President Trump, yet failed to even insult, discuss, address places like San Diego, which have just become a super sanctuary city, or the California state itself with its sanctuary policies. I submit for the record a story about a sanctuary city dweller suffering sexual battery, stranger rapes, murders at the hands of illegal aliens in California.
Without objection.
It is almost silly to say that the Senate plan, which would have allowed 7,500 people a day into the country before the president had to take any executive action at all, would have been a panacea to Biden's failed policies. And it is unique, and perhaps we're fortunate that an individual as the ranking member of the entire committee is able to condemn pardons, presidential pardons, as the only person that I know of on this dais who's actually received a presidential pardon for his actions. The Wong Kim Ark case, which basically addressed birthright citizenship, was given because somebody was a permanent legal resident, not illegal aliens who have a child in this country. When this gets to the Supreme Court, they're going to rule that way. And I'll be right, unlike Mr. Beyer, who made his prediction on President Trump's policies when the Supreme Court upheld his policies. To say that the country's border was in a shambles when President Trump was there is ludicrous. Apparently, not looking at any of the numbers, such as in Yuma. In Yuma, the entire last year, the numbers were about 8,600, I believe it was. That was the total encounters. When it was not unusual under the Biden administration to have 8,600 encounters in a weekend. Ludicrous argument, specious. The numbers came down. Why did they come down? Because you didn't count people who were applying under CBP One app. You didn't count people who were getting CHNV program. So if you're not counting everybody, well, of course the numbers come down. And that's where we sit here today. The law is this, Mr. Fabricatore. An asylum requester is required to remain in custody until that asylum request is adjudicated. Is that not true?
Absolutely, sir. That's the way it should be.
Well, not just what it should be, that's the law.
The way the law is written, yes, sir.
No administration has been successful at doing that because there's a massive number of asylum requests. Correct. But under this administration, how many asylum requesters have been released into the country?
Too many, sir. They're just released into the country and not put into detention as they should be.
If they were actually detained by the way the law requires, in which President Trump says he wants to do, he wants to enforce the law, what does that do to incentives to come into this country illegally?
It magnetizes it. It just forces people to come in because they know they're not going to go into detention. They know they're going to get released into the interior of the U.S.
If you're not detaining him, that's
Yes.
the magnet. But if you do detain him, it becomes a deterrent.
It becomes a deterrent. If we put detention back into action and we say we're going to detain you when you are asking, that's going to be a deterrent.
If you remove people, like you have 1.4 million who have who are actively in the country with removal orders, that doesn't count all the 500,000 plus criminal individuals. That is just the 1.4 who've had due process.
Yes.
If you begin removing people, what does that do as a deterrent or a magnet?
Again, it deters people from coming. And look, the biggest problem with this is they broke into the country, they entered illegally, they had an opportunity to see an immigration judge. That immigration judge ordered them deported, and they still did not leave the United States. So compounding just breaking our laws even doubly so by not even listening to what the immigration judge had to say.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, my time has expired, but may I put some articles in for?
Under unanimous consent request?
Yes, thank you. An article, what Democrats must learn from Biden's disastrous immigration record. Dems finally admit Biden botched border after 2024 election loss. We destroyed ourselves. This one without title by CNN Politics, and then this one, which I've marked all over the back of. I apologize for that. Quantifying why Democrats support open borders, and I will submit additional UCs without reading them regarding sanctuary cities and the release of violent criminals into the community. I have probably 50 or more articles I will submit for the record, sir.